Hello Gemini, welcome to this reading. We're going to be taking a look at the current energy for the sign of Gemini for the week of August 22nd. Now do keep in mind that this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and also check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. Let's go and get a shuffle in here for you Gemini. I'm using the Tarot Muka as well as the Kipper Oracle deck. There are links to all of these decks in the description below if you'd like to pick them up for yourself. Do hope you're doing well. Hope things are going good for you, Gemini. Let's go ahead and make sure we're all set up and in view. It's looking just about good enough to me. We'll go ahead and put this up here, and then we'll also take 3 of these Kipper cards to clarify as we go along. All right, Gemini. So right away, I'm seeing like a lot of red, orange, yellow here in the cards, and I just noticed it. It's sticking out to me, and so that for me initiates thoughts of initiative, of energy, of passion, of inspiration, of going for something, creativity. That's what those colors remind me of, energy. And I think that some of you, you've had a new passion or a new kind of invigoration that has come into your life. You've been feeling inspired by something, I think, recently. And this may even feel a little bit different because of the 7 of Wands says, okay, I'm doing something, and this thing that I'm doing might not make sense to other people, but I have to stand my ground because I know that what I'm doing is feeling good for me. It feels right for me, so why would I stop doing that? That's kind of what I feel like is happening here for some of you Gemini people. There's also a really good message in the past. Let's just go ahead and let's start to get some clarifications, and let's just go ahead and dive in on the initial message here, and I'll talk about what I'm feeling. So in the overall position, you do have this 7 of Wands. This person here is standing their ground. They're defending their position. You can see the wands here in the foreground. This represents competition that is potentially present for this person. When you get the 7 of Wands, it means that you've been successful, because the card that comes before it is the 6 of Wands, which is a big win in the tarot. And now you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your position. You have to defend your sort of the victories that you've had. And when I get the 7 of Wands, I always like to say that, don't be afraid of being successful. Okay, it's totally okay for you to be a successful person. And many people are afraid of success. They might like start to build momentum, and then they do something that kind of takes them back a few notches, and it's potentially because they're fundamentally afraid of succeeding. And so this could certainly be something that's showing up. I would say that there's momentum here, and I would say allow the momentum to continue building. Do not stop the momentum, Gemini, is what I feel like telling you. The reason being is in the past, you do have this word momentum. Really good way of describing these 2 cards. You have the Knight of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. Think about how as the wheel spins, right, like it keeps getting faster and faster and faster and faster with momentum. Well, that's this Wheel of Fortune card, right? The Wheel of Fortune is this idea of like the cycles of life. You can see that the windmill is spinning in the background. It says that in the past you may have gotten lucky. You can actually see here, I just noticed this in this illustration, but you see the dice on or the die, I guess is what I should say, on the time glass here. That's the idea of luck. The Wheel of Fortune says that there could have been good luck here for you, and also that there's risk and reward in everything in life. Like, I recently was listening to a podcast, and it's like, even entering into a partnership or marriage is risk and reward, because no matter, like, people change in life. Your person could just wake up and say, you know what, like, I really like you, but I'm not really interested in this marriage anymore. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but I'm just giving you an example of how, like, entering into a marriage or a partnership, that's a risk, right? That's a risk that you take. And in life, we sometimes have to take risks. And I think that some of you have had momentum building here. I think some of you have taken risks. I think some of you may want to take a risk. Now, I'm not telling you to gamble, to be very clear. This is not gambling energy. This is about taking a risk in like shooting your shot type of deal in life. So like the Knight of Wands is about travel. Maybe some of you have decided to do some travel, right? Maybe some of you have decided that you want to sort of see another culture, or this could also be about moving. This could be about moving across country. This could be about moving jobs. Especially the jobs one is big. Like, in my personal life, I switched careers, and I had a job that was stable, and then I took another job, and that was a risk that I took, and it didn't pan out, but it taught me a lot about what it's like to work in an office. It taught me a lot about the importance of negotiating, salary, negotiating your worth, and also like trust in other people. And ultimately that was a risk that I took. It didn't necessarily pay off, but I learned a lot through it. And sometimes in life we have to just take risks and then trust ourselves here that we can handle the risk. In the future, you have the Two of Swords and the Four of Wands. Two of Swords is about like not necessarily being able to see the road ahead. This is blindfold energy. This person needs to create clarity in their life, and it's going to be very hard for them to create clarity with the blindfold on, right? You can't see. And so when you get the Two of Swords, it says to potentially do what you can to work through, like racing thoughts, excessive thinking, or do whatever it is that you need to do to establish clarity. The Two of Swords can represent a conflict, like a verbal conflict, a war of words between you and another person. The Four of Wands is a card of marriage, but it's also a card of a new start in life, and also it's about foundations, fundamentals, achievements, stability, and all of those sorts of things. And so I'll really want to get some more clarity about what's going on here in the future. What I feel like saying is, like, some of you have been building momentum towards something. It may be a little bit risky, or maybe something that's a little bit that people weren't expecting you to do. Don't put the blindfold on now that you've built momentum. Don't stop is what I feel like saying, because there's a new start here showing up based on the momentum that you've been building. Let's go ahead and get some more clarity around this. So you have the Three of Wands, makes sense. You have the Six of Pentacles here. You have Knight of Cups, and also the Seven of Cups. Yeah, so lots of options showing up here in the future. There's a need for you to, what is the phrase that I'm looking for? Like narrow down, yeah. Like narrow your focus, or narrow down, cut out anything that's excessive in your life, because the Seven of Cups is essentially something that is excessive. You can see that this person is like, whoa, they're like putting their hands up because they have an excessive amount of options or choices. They have so many choices. They have so many options, and this is confusing them. This is overwhelming them. It's a great card of like a really nice way to work through the energies of the Seven of Cups is to establish or adopt minimalism, or a minimalist approach to something. Minimalism is really nice. I'm not going to go on a tangent on that, but yeah, I've been through many minimalist phases, and it's always been very healthy for me. Not just like mentally, it's been very healthy for me mentally. Even now, I have more than I have, but I still don't have a lot compared to, like, in terms of physical possessions, because it just bogs me down personally, and it keeps my mind clear to just see an open space. And so I do feel like maybe some of you, you're looking to create clarity here with this Two of Swords. With the Seven of Cups, I would say remove anything that is like clearly overwhelming you at this time, and this could really help narrow your focus. You have the Three of Wands, which is about adventure, travel. I do think some of you are maybe traveling here, or you've traveled in the past, or you've just made travel plans or something here with the Three of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Three of Wands is also sort of a small win that eventually builds up to a big win over time. Six of Pentacles is this idea of this flow within the universe. There's inflow, outflow going on in the card. As you give, you receive type of deal. And the Knight of Cups can talk about like a love energy coming in. But, you know, this is not a love reading, really. The Knight of Cups is more about, I think in this case, acquiring a vision for yourself and then seeing the vision happen, right? And so not just having a vision, but taking action on the vision. Yeah, let's go ahead and see what we have in these Kipper cards here. So you have community, message, and main female. All right, so definitely I said that there's something about maybe you having to stand your ground, something here. There's been communication, and I think that there are, what is that phrase? Too many cooks in the kitchen, or whatever that phrase is with community and main female. What I mean by that is I think there are a lot of people who are trying to impart their, or impose their knowledge, or impose their thoughts, or impose their feelings on something that you are doing. And at the end of the day, your choice is your choice. You're delivering the message of you standing your ground here, saying, listen, this is the path I've chosen. This is the path I'm going on. Trust that other, you know, the people you're dealing with are adults, and they can it's up to them to deal with your boundaries, right? And so if anything, I feel like some of you are setting boundaries. And once you set a boundary, you know, first and foremost, you're allowed to set boundaries. And then second, once you set a boundary, it's up to the other person to deal with and handle the boundary in the way that they handle it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more cards here. But if you're enjoying this video so far, please do hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow in a big way. So you have the Three of Swords, you have the Ten of Wands, and you have the Ten of Swords. All right, so definitely now something around communication here, and completions, double tens showing up, but also double threes. Okay, so threes represent, it's like Trinity, unity, community. As you have this community card, it represents other people. So there was a situation involving, I think there are like a lot of people trying to impose their thoughts, feelings, goals on you. And you're like, whoa, hold on, right? This is not what I want. This is not what I want. And I think that some of you have been dealing with that recently. I also think some of you have been there may have been a separation from somebody here with the Three of Swords. This might not be romantic, or it might be romantic. It depends on your situation. Three of Swords is about emotional releasing. It could also just be about emotional releasing, just generally in your life, or just separating from somebody. So for sure. And I do think that there's been something that you've kind of cut ties with here in the past, or somebody's cut ties with you. It is interesting. You have this Ten of Wands, Ten of Swords. This cycle, chapter, whatever you want to call it, is sort of closing out. There's something completing here for you in your life. And I think it's very important. I'm getting this really deep message. Some of you just really want to clear out the old. Okay, I think it's very important that some of you clear out the old at this time. And if there's something that is just burdening you, burdening your thoughts, you know, becoming heavy, then it's time to remove that with these tens showing up for sure. Let's go and get some more messages here. So you have the Eight of Pentacles, and then you also have the Page of Cups. So you definitely love to see the Page of Cups with the Knight of Cups. They are also in the same line here, in the same column. Love when you don't expect it, maybe. You know, love that approaches unexpectedly if you're single and you're open to that. This has just not been about a love reading. This has just not been a love reading. This has not been about love. It just feels like this is more about your creative vision, your energy, your, you know, putting a vision out to the world, something like that, right? The Page of Cups is also about some sort of offer of happiness in one's life. And yeah, it could be all of those things, right? And I feel like that's kind of more in alignment right now. Like, do you need to create a vision board, Gemini? Have you ever heard of a vision board? If you've ever watched The Secret, which I'm a big proponent of that documentary. It's a nice one. It's free on Netflix, or not free, but if you have Netflix, by the way, you can find it for free. Yeah, you may want to do like a vision board and just see, like, that might help you like create some tangible, like it creates a tangible artifact in your life that you can go back to and look at. And eventually that really helps it kind of solidify in your real life. I'm feeling like some of you may need to create a vision board. You have the Eight of Pentacles as well, which is about talent and hard work and also good developments. Certainly, certainly this idea of the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles is what you put out, you get back. And some of you really seeing that kind of come in. At the top of the pyramid, you have another six. You have the Six of Cups. Something that you've always wanted to do, childhood memory, memories of love, memories of the past. Also just stopping to smell the roses and enjoying what you have now and being grateful. Being grateful for what you have now. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's on the bottom here. Yeah, you have the Ace of Cups. There could be something around your love life if you're single. It's just not, it's totally unexpected for some of you. And I think to make that kind of happen, some of you are removing the junk, cutting out the excess, and that will almost like create space in your container to be filled with something else. So thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe. Really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next reading.